Hey guys. Thanks so much for joining us here on another live class where we're reviewing for our cell test. Hope you guys are enjoying the class so far. Not sure if the camera is going to work today, so you may or may not see me, but that doesn't matter because we are just reviewing. So what you're going to need is your review packet. Now that's found in the back part of your notes packet, and we are going to review the parts of the cell. Let's start out with a really quick review of what organelles are all about.
Cells are the smallest living units of an organism. All cells have three things in common, no matter what type of cell they are. All cells have a cell membrane, which separates the inside of the cell from its environment, cytoplasm, which is a jelly-like fluid, and DNA, which is the cell's genetic material. There are two broad categories of cells. The first category is eukaryotic cells. They have organelles, which include the nucleus and other special parts. Eukaryotic cells are more advanced, complex cells, such as those found in plants and animals. The second category is prokaryotic cells. They don't have a nucleus or membrane-enclosed organelles. They do have genetic material, but it's not contained within a nucleus. Prokaryotic cells are always one-celled or unicellular organisms, such as bacteria. So, what are organelles? Organelle means little organ. Organelles are the specialized parts of a cell that have unique jobs to perform. Let's start with the nucleus, the control center of the cell. The nucleus contains DNA, or genetic material. DNA dictates what the cell is going to do and how it's going to do it. Chromatin is the tangled, spread-out form of DNA found inside the nuclear membrane. When a cell is ready to divide, DNA condenses into structures known as chromosomes. The nucleus also contains a nucleolus, which is a structure where ribosomes are made. After ribosomes leave the nucleus, they will have the important job of synthesizing or making proteins. Outside the nucleus, the ribosomes and the rest of the organelles float around in cytoplasm, which is the jelly-like substance. Ribosomes may wander freely within the cytoplasm or attach to the endoplasmic reticulum, sometimes abbreviated as ER. There are two types of ER. Rough ER has ribosomes attached to it, and smooth ER doesn't have ribosomes attached to it. The endoplasmic reticulum is a membrane-enclosed passageway for transporting materials, such as the proteins synthesized by ribosomes. Proteins and other materials emerge from the endoplasmic reticulum in small vesicles, where the Golgi apparatus, sometimes called the Golgi body, receives them. As proteins move through the Golgi body, they're customized into forms that the cell can use. The Golgi body does this by folding the proteins into usable shapes, or adding other materials onto them, such as lipids or carbohydrates. Vacuoles are sac-like structures that store different materials. Here, in this plant cell, the central vacuole stores water. Going back to the animal cell, you will see an organelle called a lysosome. Lysosomes are the garbage collectors that take in damaged or worn-out cell parts. They are filled with enzymes that break down this cellular debris. The mitochondrion is an organelle that is the powerhouse for both animal and plant cells. During a process called cellular respiration, the mitochondria make ATP molecules that provide the energy for all of the cell's activities. Cells that need more energy have more mitochondria. Meanwhile, the cell maintains its shape through a cytoskeleton. The cytoskeleton includes the thread-like microfilaments, which are made of protein, and microtubules, which are thin, hollow tubes. Some organisms, such as plants, that are photoautotrophic, meaning they capture sunlight for energy, have cells with an organelle called a chloroplast. The chloroplast is where photosynthesis happens. It's green because it has a green pigment called chlorophyll. Plant cells also have a cell wall outside of their cell membranes that shape, support, and protect the plant cell. Animal cells never have a cell wall. There are many other unique structures that only some cells have. Here are just a few. In humans, for example, the respiratory tract is lined with cells that have cilia. These are microscopic hair-like projections that can move in waves. This feature helps trap inhaled particles in the air and expels them when you cough. Another unique feature in some cells is flagella. Some bacteria have flagella. A flagellum is like a little tail that can help a cell move or propel itself. The only human cell that has a flagellum is a sperm cell. In summary, remember, eukaryotic cells are plant and animal cells with a nucleus and membrane-enclosed organelles, while prokaryotic cells are unicellular organisms without these things. All cells have a cell membrane, cytoplasm, and genetic material. And even though only plant cells have chloroplasts, both plant and animal cells have mitochondria.
So guys, take out your review packet, join with me as we go over some of these answers. If you haven't filled it out, it would be a really smart idea to try to fill it out using your notes and other resources, and then we can go over the answers. So here we are, review packet. Looks like this. See if you can do them. Pause. I would recommend that you cross out wrong answers and then fill in the ones you know are right. All right, we are back. We are about to go over the answers. Let's take a look at organelles up close. Organelle used for storage is the vacuole. In plants, large vacuoles store water so that plants can remain hydrated and complete the necessary steps of photosynthesis, wherein water is a main participant. Okay, part of the plant cell that carries out this photosynthesis, that is the chloroplast with the chlorophyll. The jelly-like material is your cytoplasm, and as you can see, the nucleus is that control center controlling the DNA. Manufactures protein, ribosomes. Now, it's a common mistake that ribosomes make food. Ribosomes are not able to make food. Those ribosomes make protein, and protein are the building blocks of your cell, your building blocks and your structures. Photosynthesis makes sugar, and that's what the plants do. Okay, powerhouses. To release that energy from food, we need the mighty mitochondria. And all cells have a membrane or outer covering, and only plants have the cell wall for that additional strength and support. How'd you do? Okay, let's take a look at our next page. Cell theory. There are 3 parts. This means what we see when we look at cells through the microscope always shows us the same thing. Cells are the most basic living thing. There's nothing else that's a living thing any smaller or less complex than your cell. Living things are made of cells, so every time we look at something under the microscope that we would assume is alive, it does indeed have cells. From a tree to some fungus, to your skin cells, you name it. Living things are made of cells. And cells come from other cells. They don't just appear randomly or out of the blue. They actually are just coming from other cells that already were there. Make sure you can define words like multicellular, multi meaning many cells, compared to una, which means one. Organisms made of only one cell. Can you think of any examples? Bacteria, very common type of life form made of only one cell. Now, pro and eukaryotic. Prokaryotic, eukaryotic. Prokaryotic means you have no nucleus. Pro rhymes with no. No nucleus. Pro, no. Eukaryotic, you carry your DNA in a nucleus. You have organelles. You care. So I think it's a way to remember what type of cell is what. Now we, animals, plants, and fungi are the eukaryotic. Prokaryotic would be the bacteria. Okay, put these in order from simple to biggest. Careful, we do have organelles that are smaller than cells, but after that, it's CTOSO. Can Timmy organize some ores or whatever you came up with to help you remember, which we did in class, CTOSO. Each one builds on the one before. Okay, animals and plants. Animal cell over here, plant cell over here. Both have many parts that they have in common. But what's different? What makes animals different than plants is the differences in their cells. So plants only have chloroplasts. That's photosynthesis. Plants only have larger vacuoles to store water. They can't move to get water because they have cell walls, a protective strong outer layer that prevents them from being able to move. So plants are different than animals because of the structures actually in the cells. Okay, the next part is all about how cells make food and get energy out of that food. So these two processes called respiration and photosynthesis are opposites. What one makes, the other one needs. What one needs, the other one makes. Simple sugars are called glucose. Organelles found only in plants that provide photosynthesis are the chloroplasts. Both plants and animals do cellular respiration to release energy from that sugar. What do we need for photosynthesis? Raw materials, requirements, sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. The water and carbon dioxide provide the atoms that you need to build the glucose, with leftover oxygens being a waste product. So photosynthesis, building glucose and oxygen out of water, H2O, and CO2. Taking them apart and recombining them like a Lego. Sunlight is what powers that, what helps that happen. In respiration, or cellular respiration, glucose, which was just made by the plant, and oxygen are going to be broken apart to make water, carbon dioxide, and in the process release energy. We call that energy form ATP. So the thing that plants made, glucose and oxygen, broken apart, releasing the energy, creating that water and CO2 that plants are going to use. We get energy, or all cells get energy from this, and plants benefit from our CO2 that we might breathe out. All right, where does respiration happen? It's in the mitochondria everywhere. All plants, all animals, anything with a mitochondria is doing cellular respiration to get energy out of that food. Okay, some practice questions. All of these share one thing in common, that they're only made, or that they're all made of at least one cell. That's it. In this equation, we've got oxygen and glucose making carbon dioxide, water, and energy. Is that photosynthesis or respiration? Respiration. Here we go. One of these is a unicellular organism made of only one cell, the little old amoeba. We've skipped this one, and we're doing eukaryotic cells, unlike prokaryotic cells. Don't have what? Okay, so prokaryotic cells are lacking the nucleus. Pro, no. No nucleus. Pro, no. Remember how to answer this. CTOSO. Can Timmy organize some ores? Nope. Can Timmy organize organ systems? S, some ores. There it is. D, choice D. DNA. That's your instructions, but it also stores your nuclear information and directs your cell activity. So really, it's all of the above. Choice D. Okay, again, C for cell, tissue, organ, system. Here's a whole complete organism. There you are. So which one is the organ? This one, kidney, made of tissues, which are made of cells, which is part of your organ system, which is part of you. And if you ever see this question ever, maybe even in high school, very common question for state tests, why are we doing this careful application of a glass cover slip on a microscope slide? It's to reduce the air bubbles that could get under there and confuse you because they look like cells. So B. B is why we should do that. And for this test, that's all. So I'm hoping you guys enjoyed the review packet, and make sure you understand and committed to memory all of the things in there. And thanks again for trying science, and we hope to see you soon in class or see you on that test. Good luck, and we'll catch you next time.